Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents G.I. Joe Tuesday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Walmart exclusive G.I. Joe Classified Series Night Force Shooter. Let's get into it! Let's begin with a look at the packaging. And here we have on the top flap, fore and up, warning, don't stick things in your pie hole that do not belong there. Peg hook hanger. G.I. Joe Classified Series in the brackets. And then we have kind of that carbon fiber looking background. On the front, we have what looks to be nice practical photography of the figure. Night Force G.I. Joe Classified Series. Here is the accessories that she comes with, and then a nice piece of artwork here. And then G.I. Joe Jody, Shooter Craig, G.I. Joe logo, and Hasbro print, or the G.I. Joe symbol, I guess. On the bottom, small print, fine print, legalese print, made in China print, symbols I'm not going to learn, and a barcode. On this side, some more of that artwork from here. Same artwork, just larger view of it. G.I. Joe Classified Series number 90 on this side. G.I. Joe Star, here we have that artwork again, number 90. Here's a QR code. Scan it if you dare. It might take you to shop.hasbro.com or gijoe.com. And then here's her skill set and the G.I. Joe stripes that come around from the front to the side here. Then on the back, G.I. Joe Jody Shooter Craig, nice digital render of the figure and accessories, and then some close-ups here of some of the features. Her skill set again. Warning, attention, Octoon. Don't stick things in any language pie hole that do not belong there. Don't give it to babies. Attention, especially don't stick things in your French pie hole that do not belong there. Parents, GIJoe.com. Small print, fine print, legalese print, made in China print. Some other symbols I'm not going to learn. Hasbro print, assortment number. And that, my friends, is a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and her accessories. And first up, we have handy dandy tweezers here to help us take a look at all these smaller accessories. So let's start with her knife, which I do believe is a kukri, if that's how you pronounce it. And it does have some molded details in it, especially down here in the handle. And that goes on both sides. A little bit of detail there on the blade. So, and I don't think we've seen that particular knife before. I could be wrong, but I think we've gotten larger versions of it, but not necessarily smaller. She also comes with a pistol, which is kind of modern. It's almost a cross between the Nerf guns we used to get and an actual firearm. But it could actually be, you know, based on a real firearm, and I'm just not familiar with it. Next up, we have, this is what she has in lieu of a backpack, and it's a rack for her sniper rifle. And you know, trigger guard goes around that, and then that just kind of cradles it. And of course, it's got a post on the back of it that goes in the port in her baccarini, G.I. Joe's back. So, kind of neat. Next up is the ammo magazine.
And it's got a little bit of molded details in it. Kind of neat looking. Unusual with that bend in it. At least unusual to me. I'm not familiar with that. Now, before we're done with the handy dandy tweezers, let's go ahead and take a look at her alternate wigs or hair pieces, whatever you want to call them. Here is I call this one the hanging around the base wig, and as you can see, it's got a little bit of paint apps here on it for those braids. Lots of nice molded details in it. And then here is her Night Force gas mask wig. So it's a faceplate and a wig really as well, or a mask and a wig. And this matches up with the hair that's on her now. So that's why, you know, this is the gas mask one, and then the one that she's got on is her field wig, I suppose. And looks like she's got some color in it right here and then down here at the tip. So maybe she's got frosted tips. I don't know. The gas mask looks a little weird though, like she's been hanging out with the Valiverse swarm maybe. So it's got nice big eye covers. And they're in a kind of a goldish, or at least they look gold to me. I'm colorblind, don't make fun of handicapped people. And then you can see the filter here and some other details. So, pretty neat. But I don't think I'm going to use that in the display. So here's her rifle. It's kind of, the barrel is a little bit flimsy. I mean, the whole thing's kind of bendy, but the barrel is kind of there, you know, not it's not straight, so she can shoot around corners, I suppose. Just kidding. So again, this is kind of a cross between what we used to get in the line and a realistic weapon. So, you know, there's that. It does have a lot of nice molded details in it. You know, you got your sight on here, your stock, trigger, handle, barrel, and I'm not sure what this piece is called at the end of the barrel, other than the end of the barrel. And then, as you can see, it's got a port in the end of it for blast effects, of which she comes with none. Now, the ammo magazine does stick in the gun, and I'm not sure exactly which way it goes, but that looks correct to me. So, that's neat. Now let's take a look at the figure herself. And I have to say, you know, the paint and stuff on the face, I guess it's the inkjet print, you know, they did quite well with it. And other than the plastic that they used kind of being a little bit shiny, not too bad, but just a little bit, you know, kudos on that. And the sculpt is nice too. So, also she's got a timer here, so it tells her when she's, you know, supposed to do something on a mission, I suppose. And then nice vest. I think we've seen this before, but I'm not gonna swear to it. And then there's the sheath for the knife, and then we got some paint apps on here. I think it's molded in this shade, and then the straps and stuff are paint apps. The belt has a paint app there for the buckle, maybe not. No, it's just the light shining on it. So nice molded details in it. It's all molded in this color, and then she's got some hooks on the back where if you have some stuff with hooks on it, you can put there. Holster for the gun, again molded in this color, and it's on strap, so you can move it or remove it if you wish. And then pretty much everything else looks to be molded in color. Maybe this part of the arm is a paint app, So not 100% sure there. And it almost looks like the skin tones don't quite match. The face and neck seem to be a little bit darker than the arms. So that's something to be aware of at least. And again, this wig that she's wearing, it has the paint apps on the ends of her hair. So frosted tips, I'm guessing that's a thing. So as far as the sculpt goes, I think we've seen this before. I'm not quite sure. I don't care for these shoes, boots, high tops, basketball sneakers. I don't know exactly what they are, but they just look a little, to me, out of place on the figure. But who knows? That might be how she sneaks around to get into position for a little pew pew. But, you know, nice molded details throughout. And I forgot to mention her tattoo there. It's like a cobra with an arrow through it. So that makes sense. Very appropriate. And then, you know, just again, nice molded details throughout the figure. And, you know, some extra fine detail in here, I guess. Rivets and stuff. Texture, that's what I was trying to think of. So nice textures, zippers and stuff. So pretty neat. And this may be reused from somewhere, the body, but I'm not, I don't know 100%. So let's take a look at her articulation. The head is on a dumbbell at the top and a ball joint at the bottom of the neck, and it's all, you know, torso, neck, head, 3 pieces. So she can look up that high. She can look down that far. She's got chicken neck. She's got waggle. She can do the full exorcist at the shoulder, 360 degrees of rotation. Now on this side, the knife sheath does get in the way just a little bit, so you have to do a little bit of outswing to get that full rotation. She can raise her arm up, it looks like approximately 90 degrees at the upper bicep, 360 degrees of rotation there. Double hinged, pinless elbow, and it gives you that much bend, so very good. 360 degrees of rotation at the wrist on an up and down hand trigger finger, and up and down hand on a trigger finger hand. So very good. Now there's a cut here. You can't really see it because of this overlay, but I still think it is, yeah. So you get a little twist there. If you force it, you can get a full 360 out of it. And then there's another cut at the waist, and you get another 360 degrees there as well. As the belt there not liking to stay in place. So there's that. So in conjunction between the cut at the waist and the cut in the upper torso, she can lean back that far. She can lean forward that far, which doesn't really seem like a lot. And, you know, she's got plenty of hula and leaning left and right. Pull down hinge at the hips, and she gives you that much of the splits. Not quite the full splits, but it's close. So she can kick forward about that far, not quite, well, way less than 90 degrees. So. And then back that far. So not bad. Cut at the upper thigh gives you full 360 degrees worth of rotation there. Double hinged pinless knee, and it will give you that much bend. And at the upper shin, she does have another cut for another 360 degree rotation. And finally at the ankles, tilts down that far, tilts up that far, and she does have a pin for rocker. Now, as far as accessory storage, which is very important in this line, at least I think it is. So her knife goes in the sheath like it should. Her pistol fits in the holster like it should. And then I suggest, if you're going to use this piece, and there's nothing wrong with it, is that you put the gun on it before you put it on her back. And again, the way that works, this post right here goes through the trigger guard, and then it just rests on that, and then it ports in to her back like so. So there's all of her equipment stored on the figure, but not the hair pieces. There's no storage for those, unfortunately. So we'll pull that off for a minute. So the way that works, you just kind of lift it up from the back, and then you can see all kinds of crazy head stuff going on there. Oops, it might help if I try to put it on correctly. So there's the hanging around the base wig. And then this one's that's the wrong one. This one's a little bit more difficult to get on because of the mask, but not too bad. So there's how she looks with that one. And this is probably my least favorite. And there's that first hair piece back on her, which is probably my favorite. No, it's not probably. It is my favorite. I think that's the best look for the character. But again, that's just me. So there you have it, my friends. If she'll stand up, I'll look at the figure, her accessories, and storage. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the Walmart exclusive G.I. Joe Classified Series Night Force Shooter with the G.I. Joe Classified Series Retro Carded Scarlet and the Walmart exclusive G.I. Joe Classified Series Night Force 2-pack of Quarrel and Lieutenant Falcon. For our next set of comparisons, here we have the G.I. Joe Classified Series Walmart exclusive Night Force Shooter with the Joe Fest exclusive Valaverse Action Force Warpath Eclipse and the Valaverse Action Force Pandora with Pandora Upgrade Kit. For our last set of comparisons here, we have the Walmart exclusive G.I. Joe Classified Series Night Force Shooter with, from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee. From the G.I. Joe Classified Series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. From Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Walmart exclusive G.I. Joe Classified Series Night Force Shooter, I have to go ahead and tell you guys, this is not a character that I was familiar with or remembered at all. And my good friend, the Prophet Director, which you can find if you search up the Prophet Director's channel on YouTube. We were talking on live stream one night about the original 13. So apparently in the comic book there was originally 14, And Shooter was that 14th person mentioned by name only, and because something in that very first issue, I think it was the first issue, happens to Shooter, and so we never get to see Shooter. So I guess it was open to interpretation, and this is how they interpreted it. And putting it in, you know, as an exclusive, I think made sense. Maybe not so much the Night Force portion of it, but that's, at the time, is when this came out, that's what Walmart was, the Walmart line was the Night Force stuff. So that's how she ended up in there. I think it's a really good sculpt. I think it's a pretty decent paint job on it. You know, it's got all the right range of motion where it should be for a G.I. Joe figure. I'm not super enamored with the pistol. It's a little more original classified looking than I would like. The rifle shares a little bit of that, but I think it's a good cross between that and realism. I don't mind the rifle so much. The knife is great. And I love the little, as it's coming around here, you know, the bracket that her gun goes in. You know, I really like that. The two extra wigs, or the mask and the wig, I think those are great accessories as well. The one that's on her now, that's probably the one that I will utilize in the display. Now, if I had one complaint or nitpick or whatever about this character, to me it's these shoes or boots, or I don't really care for the look of them. That's just me. I don't know if that's a real thing, that there's military out there that use these unlaced high top looking tennis shoes. I don't know if that's a thing, but in real life. But if it is, I guess it makes sense. I guess it makes sense if she's sneaking around or whatever. I don't particularly like the look of them, and that's just me. Your mileage, of course, may vary, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. We can agree to disagree on that part if that's something that you like, or think that you know, I guess it's appropriate for the character if she's sneaking around a lot. But you know, it is what it is. I just don't like the look of them. And again, your mileage may vary, and that's fine. So overall, I have to say, you know, it was a good. This is a good piece, and if it hadn't been on sale and I needed to make shipping on Walmart, because that's what happens to me a lot of times. I'll need to make, you know, one more thing to make shipping, and so I look for stuff on sale, and you know, I found this, and this, I'm guessing, I don't know this for sure, but my feeling is this is probably, we probably won't see like a regular version of this character, only the Night Force version. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just feel that way, especially with it going on clearance. It just didn't seem to be that popular, but it is what it is, I suppose. Well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I am now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.